more people to join us. We have about 45 registered, so we're expecting a few more people to arrive. So we'll give it another couple of minutes. And uh, as for those of you who normally hear uh, who've been past events, no music today as we're remembering those who died in conflict, which is Remembrance Day in Canada and in many other places around the world. And if folks would like to share where they're calling in from and your organizational affiliation, that would be very helpful in the chat. Okay, I'd like to turn on the recording, Zane. Okay, everybody, welcome. This month we're very pleased to have with us Stefan Rasporich from Alberta in Canada, who's going to be talking about the work he's been doing with the Flourishing Business Canvas and other things around in Minecraft and beyond that. But before we get into his presentation, just a few words of introduction from myself and to set the scene. So my name is Anthony Upward. I'm one of the co-founders of the Flourishing Business Community, and I'm the originator of the Flourishing Business Canvas. And I'd like to welcome you to our Stories from the Field speaker series, where members of our community from around the world share their experiences using the Flourishing Business Canvas. We meet on the second Tuesday of each month, and either at 1500 or 1600 UTC, depending on where the clocks are in the change that we have each year. And again, if you'd like to share your name, location, and organization in the chat, that would be wonderful. Also like to welcome Zane from Georgian College. Zane is very kindly and very efficiently helping us organize these events going forward, and so it's fantastic to have him here. And thanks also to Zane's boss Nicole Norris for helping to make this happen. And we'd like to start as per the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's report in Canada with an acknowledgement of our social privilege and also our ecological privilege. We've adapted this so that it's relevant, hopefully, to everybody wherever you are, not just from a Canadian context. And if you would like to share your specific land and place acknowledgement in the chat, please do so. So each of us are privileged to be on sacred land that has supported human beings for thousands of years and is rich in history, knowledge, and tradition. And we're privileged to be the beneficiaries and the stewards of all that has come before on behalf of all the generations to come. And we invite you to consider in your place how you honour and respect peoples indigenous to your place, including for many of you yourselves. And from the why did that still not work? Oh well. So on the ecological side of things, in the chat, love you to share. Do you know where you are from a bioregional perspective and from a watershed perspective? Zane shared where I am in near Lake Ontario, but where are all of you? What's the nearest watershed to you? And for some reason my build isn't working here, but there's a great website called One Earth, which lists all of the bioregions, and you can look that up. Let's have a look, see where everybody is. Bow River in Calgary. Rob also in the wider Bow Glacier watershed. Yes, it's great to see some friends and some new people here as well. That's really good. Anybody else know where they are? Or if you don't, then the One Earth website is very useful. The reason we bring this up is that each of us and all life in every part of the world is ultimately dependent on the health of your bioregion and watershed. And if you wanted a very practical example of this, the delivery of this event is interdependent in important ways with this place. And think about where the sewer from your building connects to. Ultimately, it's the watershed, hopefully through a sewer treatment plant. And in terms of the Flourishing Business Canvas, bioregions and watersheds are a collection of vital biophysical stocks and ecosystem services upon which we are all interdependent. And there's the one Earth uh, uh, logo finally. So who's putting this event on? We are the Flourishing Enterprise Collab. We're a Canadian not-for-profit, and our vision is to enable people in business to work together to realize equitable and regenerative societies, environments, and economies so that all humans and all other life flourishes for generations to come. And our mission is to build a community to bring flourishing business design tools and methods to the world so they can become widely used to create business models fit for the 21st century, socially, environmentally, and financially equitable and regenerative organizations, enterprises, businesses of all types. And our strategy to go on that mission to achieve our vision is to co-create with the community a toolkit of flourishing tools and methods, and that includes the Flourishing Business Canvas. And the toolkit will make it practical and pragmatic for business leaders and entrepreneurs to design innovative business models that contribute to the sustainable flourishing of their enterprises, the economy, society, and the environment as a whole. And you're very welcome to join us in our community at community.flourishingbusiness.org. I mentioned the toolkit today. The toolkit has three components to it. There's the canvas itself for designing business models. We also have two methods for the effective use of the canvas, one in the context of established businesses, which is the Flourishing Enterprise Design Method, and the other one is in the context of startups, which is the Flourishing Startup Method. And if you'd like to learn more about the toolkit, you can visit our website and take a look at the toolkit menu item. A couple of other things just to mention before we get going. We now have a training course for the Flourishing Business Canvas, and it's a comprehensive and very practical course. We'll teach you how to and give you experience using the Flourishing Business Canvas, give you a chance to meet other people from around the world who are enabling flourishing businesses. It's an online course with live weekly office hours. The online component includes over 90 videos of a real startup team using the canvas and being coached through the use of the canvas. It's as accessible as we can make it from a financial standpoint, and we're open for sponsorships and paying it forward if you might be in a position to do that. And you can learn more on our website at flourishingbusiness.org/training. Next cohort we have one cohort underway right now, and the next cohort is starting in January. So now's the time to think about signing up. Quick word on where we are with the collab itself. We were founded in 2021. In 2023, we launched the Canvas under a Creative Commons license based on 10 years of testing, and that's free for all use cases. We're nearing 10,000 downloads right now. We're in 9 languages with quite a lot more on the way. In 2024, we recruited a board of directors, and in 2025, we started to work to secure $1 million Canadian dollars over 3 years in organizational funding. And we have a brochure if that's of interest. And if you can help us in any way with that learning journey to secure that funding, that would be wonderful. So on to our talk for today. As I said, Stefan is here from Alberta, and I'll stop my share and hand it over to you, Stefan. Wonderful. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anthony, for this welcome and for allowing me to share whatever I can that can help the community in the Flourishing Canvas. I'm just going to share my screen now. Yeah, here we go. And hopefully this presentation will work. Here we go. Can you see this this Vimy memorial?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, before I kind of introduce myself, I just wanted to say that this is a very important day for myself and my family. And in fact, one of the first projects we ever did with Infinite Mind Pictures was in consultation with the Military Museums Archives with the University of Calgary and Virtual Museums Canada. We created a World War I experience where players get to learn about um, uh, the purposes of propaganda art, um, and it ended with being at the Vimy Memorial, which is in France. We also created some trenches, and this is more of an artistic sort of use of Minecraft with shaders and things like that. But um, I just also wanted to talk a little bit about my own family history, just to mark this Remembrance Day. The person second from the left on the on the picture there, holding the fellow's shoulder, is my great uncle. He's a Finnish Canadian, and he was in the Air Force, and he was also a photographer. So he took some really amazing wartime photographs, and these are Canadians. He was part of the group that liberated Holland. Okay, so thank you for welcoming me to the Flourishing Canvas and Infinite Mind Pictures. I uh, am excited to explore a bit of a story thread that has kind of been. Sorry, my cat has just joined me. Uh, a nice story thread that I've been working on for a while, which is this idea of Earth versus Venus, and the potential of changing our storyline. This is actually a live version of a Minecraft Earth map that is live right now, which I will share with you at the end of my presentation. A little bit about me. I do a few things. One, I'm a teacher and an esports coach. This was new this year for me, was becoming an esports coach, and our team competed very well, and I learned a lot about that world. I've been teaching for over 25 years in a variety of contexts, and and part of that journey has been co-founding Infinite Mind Pictures as both an educational uh, sort of delivery system as well as an artistic one. I'm also an actor and a screenwriter. I actually started out in acting and theater. There's a picture of me on the right in The Revenant. It was a film that I chased Leonardo DiCaprio with a rubber gun, and and my shoulder is very important in that film. It holds it up. If it wasn't in there, it wouldn't have won the Academy Award for Best Picture. I just know that. I hope one day that the work I'm doing with sustainability will catch the attention of Leonardo DiCaprio. I feel like I'm still chasing after him. Anyways, um, there's also my family here. That's the core of Infinite Mind Pictures. My son came up with the I logo when he was 5 years old, and we're all just at the local amusement park going down a log ride. Um, and and a game designer as well. So I designed this game, Pilots of Galaxia, as part of this sci-fi universe that I was creating for Rift Exiles, which is a, a feature-length sci-fi trilogy. So that's kind of a little bit about me. Uh, Cavia, this is a sustainable village. And I first started using Minecraft in the classroom because I noticed how empowering it was for students, and how they would start to mentor each other. And so we built these sustainable villages that had a variety of things to them. They would have renewable energy systems. They would have societal elements of especially youth justice. I was teaching the Youth Criminal Justice Act, and how youth need a second chance in order to move ahead, and and other things about governance. How do we govern ourselves as teams? Do we use consensus? Do we use majority? Do we use a dictatorial approach? So those were all sort of things that were used in building these worlds, and I took that into my work with Infinite Mind Pictures to create something called the Sustainability Lab. And all of these little dots on this map on Padlet are things that are villages that students have created from around the world. And what I really love about this sort of international work is I had students from as far away as Singapore. And the thing I would always ask them to do is when you're entering the story world, and I'll talk just a bit about that and how it has to do with animals. Um, I want you to choose a place that is not in your biome. So I think it was really great that you opened, Anthony, with like, where, what biome are we in right now? I'm in the Bow River Basin, um, and and so he chose Churchill, Manitoba, which is the home of the polar bear, and and that's very far from Singapore. And it's just this kind of initial sort of welcoming into this world, developing a planetary view, and so. Part of this is the narrative. It's the story world narrative, which is you and your animal have fled the biome that you are in because of some kind of disaster. And the first thing that you are going to do is you are going to build a shelter for your animal, and so uh, that's what we do. We build a shelter. It's starting out with empathy, kind of as the first part. This is always where I start with the story narrative. Um, Now I started to experiment with different animals and assigning them the sustainable development goals. And I'll talk about this a little further because this happened a little later down the line when I started using it in my classroom as kind of a warm up activity, or just a way to kind of people to get into groups and to organize around uh, using the animal in their design for the habitat of their village to reflect the needs of that animal, again from that sort of empathy standpoint, but also to connect to the sustainable development goals. And yeah, so I assigned these different Minecraft mobs. I guess they're called mobiles because they're actually moving inside the game, to different the different SDGs. Uh, so yeah, they start by building their shelter. Then they built a disaster bunker, and this was kind of a way of, well, we need to be able. I mean, it. If you, I was a teacher during the pandemic, so that's a very special place to be, and it was very challenging, and so we had to figure out ways of, well, how can you and the environment that you're in, um, still receive your education, and part of this is like activities, and so that's why like the survival bunker with 1 week of fresh air, water, food, and activities is important. And that's also kind of a game element that we brought into Minecraft, because I usually use creative, but every once in a while we'll switch it to survival mode where the mobs are like you're having to defend yourself, and so that's just kind of a fun part of the game that we can switch in between, because there's multiple modes in Minecraft: survival, adventure, creative, and the sandbox mode is where we start, but we dabble in all sides of it. This is a student's realm that they created called Antarctican. I remember they built this one, and they had some kind of bunker that was like powered with geothermal energy, and it was really really interesting. That's why I chose that one. Um, so Minecraft has some really nice built-in things to have you experience. You just saw like a solar array there. They've got something called a daylight sensor, which acts as a solar panel. And then that's where we get into our powering our worlds with the redstone renewables. And this is where we use redstone circuitry, because inside Minecraft, again, there it has so much depth, because you can use this thing called redstone, which is like a circuit, and it also acts as a battery at the same time. It's a very interesting sort of engineering tool with almost like some coding elements in there with like logic gates and things like that on how to move the energy. But it basically, you can take the daylight sensor and it will give a redstone signal that can power things that are around you. So that's kind of like the STEM sort of engineering side of things. Um, and you know, game based learning is all about teams and identity. So at the beginning, we have them choose a team, and on the Padlet there, you may have noticed that for every little dot there was a color, and each of those colors is assigned to a different kind of renewable energy system. And so red, like I said, was geothermal. I'm not going to go through all of them, but it does give you a sense of identity. And when they build their redstone generator, um, they build the easiest one is the solar with the daylight sensor. I'd say the hardest one is wind, because making a functioning wind turbine inside Minecraft requires some serious command block skill. But some students are really up for that sort of thing, and there's also, yeah, sticky pistons and things like that that you can work with. Um, so this is like a redstone lit world called New Dawn. It was one of my favorite worlds. She in fact created this amazing design where she had a disco floor that was lit from below, with I think it was, yeah, it was wind energy. There it is. It's right in front of me. She created, again, it's a stationary turbine. It's not moving, but you can still get away with just using redstone blocks to power it. But one of the great things that happened, and I don't know if you can kind of see in the background all these little dots, but a nearby village um, was run by a young boy, and she had created a dance, and she invited him to the dance, and so he like created formal attire, because in Minecraft you can create your own skin and that sort of thing, and they almost had this like this fun sort of party and ritual, and I was just like, this is amazing, like the kind of things that emerge. And I do really like to use emergent design that is youth led. um, part of the youth led credo for me is comes from Scouts, and that's Scouts Canada. I'm involved with that group, specifically with a group in Calgary that is only for uh, children with autism, and the youth led part, the safe part, those are all very important principles that underlie what we do. So again, in Minecraft, you don't typically see it like this with the nice shaders and things, but I just wanted to show you what it can look like from almost a cinematic perspective. So that's the sustainability lab. You'll notice that every time you see this image, I want to kind of leave some space. Actually, did anybody want to jump in right now, or do you want me to just go through, Anthony? And
Oop, keep going, keep going.
okay, all right, that's fine. So this is going to get closer and closer in to part of the earth there. So not only do we do the sustainable villages, but we do something called the seven gen starship. So we take this idea of creating a sustainable Earth and compress it into an intergenerational starship with kind of fun sci-fi designs and that sort of things. So part of it is building it for your animal, and just because we can't go faster than the speed of light, so what are we going to do? An intergenerational starship to get to Alpha Centauri? I guess that's the way. I also like to do a piston door, because that's a really fun thing to do on ships, and we can use the redstone to create these piston doors. That's something that kids love doing in Minecraft, and it's a bit of an engineering challenge. And then how do they power it? And it's again the redstone renewable system. So that's kind of how we've expanded there. And you'll notice that it's still Earth versus Venus, and I just want to touch on that. Is that the whole purpose of this narrative, and I do have like a full narrative of like the Ender Dragon in our world is actually from Venus, and it's sending the Withers, which are these creatures that destroy everything, to heat up and make the planet more like Venus, because the pressure on Venus is just too much for them now. It's runaway, greenhouse gas pressure. So that's part of the narrative. We're all about partnerships at Infinite Mind Pictures, and I could talk about each one of these. There's been so many people who've helped us and recognized us, and that we've worked with over the years. One of the most important partnerships, and I want to bring it back to that original Vimy and World War One experience, was for that project. I decided to enlist the help of an elder. His name is Treffrey Deerfoot, and using the correct protocols, because I'm familiar with them, he agreed to help us consult on an Indigenous storyline. that happened in World War I. And through that process, I learned so much about Indigenous veterans and their contributions and how society was for Indigenous peoples, especially during before and after World War One. And we after that project, we decided to continue working with something called the Deerfoot Rasparich Minecraft Youth Scholarship, and so I put some money together and just invited some youth to apply, and we built some worlds that tried to advance, building together as a truth and reconciliation element to it. The inspiration for the sustainable villages actually came from uh, an Indigenous architect from Alberta called Douglas Cardinal. You may recognize his work internationally from the Museum of History in Hull, Quebec, which I did my theater degree in Ottawa, and so I did a couple of presentations there, some theatrical presentations, um, and uh, and he created this the Kamloops band's idea for a sustainable village. And when I saw him present that at the Glenbow here in Calgary, I was just it just transformed the way I saw things. I was like, wow, this is so incredible. Like he's designing everything so that it diverts the wastewater away from the river, which is the water source. In later research, I discovered that they consulted with elders and they said, look to the animals first when you are designing this, because they have the pathways to water. You have to think about not only the 7 generations of the human existence into the future, but you have to think of the animals' existence as well. And I've learned more and more about not only the animals, but the water itself, the river itself, that they, from an Indigenous perspective, have grandchildren, um, and so that that was something that I learned. Also, this original design that he did for the St. Mary's Cathedral in Red Deer in Alberta, a very early design. He actually used nature as a way to inspire him, because the freestanding sort of vaulted ceiling that he wanted was only capable through some mathematics that were inspired by a spiderweb design to create that holding of that space. So yeah, we're getting closer in. All right, so that means we're shifting to something new. All right, so one of the partnerships that we had that was very influential was NSTEP, and so we worked with them, and we won a grant from Impact Genesis Generation Capital, for weather awareness. And so we created something called Weather of the Body, where we brought this whole SDG sort of animals into what NSTEP does, which is nutrition and activity. And so we made a game, and it was based in kind of in Minecraft and kind of like in the physical world. NSTEP already has their own kind of physical games, but I made an overarching meta game where they completed activities, they got these little tickets, they built their inventory of a nutritious sort of including proteins, whole grains, fruit, the work that NSTEP does on nutrition, and they competed because I like to create a competitive system that also allows students to become leaders within that group. I call them the Opsalots. They're typically like the little mini teachers. They want that responsibility, and they also want the ability to kind of guide things. And so I create that role for them, and they kind of run things. So that was a really important step for us in our partnership. And this now kind of moves into the business canvas. And so I took what I learned from NSTEP, and at the same time in my own classes, I was teaching a variety of things. But in the last few years, I started teaching enterprise and innovation. Um, so my job as a high school teacher is mainly game design, computer science, audio visual, uh, robotics, which I did not know anything about at the beginning, but that was actually a good thing, and enterprise and innovation. Now, again, I come back to my sort of theater beginnings as an actor, and I became a drama teacher. That was, after I had been teaching English as a learning language for immigrants and that sort of thing, to kind of have a job while I was being an actor. I learned that teaching was really well suited for me, and so I started out teaching drama, and so learning actually drama games was a really important part of my understanding of learning games, um, and also pitching. So this is kind of where we get into, well, I'm learning about the business canvas, having founded this company and not really knowing anything about how a company works. I just originally wanted it for, yes, the educational stuff, but also to have access to Canada Media Fund grants, which, hey, we just got our first one this year for conceptualizing a video game version of Pilots of Galaxia, the board game. But can't remember where I was going with that. Oh yeah, pitching. So yeah, pitching is definitely part of the theatrical world, and and especially the film world. I mean, if you're going to be getting any funding for films and that sort of thing, you have to learn how to pitch, or at least get your idea across. Um, so I started out, yeah, learning this business, learning a business canvas, a lean canvas. I took a workshop and I was like, wow, this is like a really kind of simple way of opening things up. Um, and I took my usual sort of, okay, everybody, we're going to start out with a Minecraft activity where we build a sustainable village down below and a starship above it, and we fit it all inside a structure block. Uh, that's another whole system that I learned later that has become really useful. Um, and and as we did that, one year, I think it was 2 years ago or last year, Yale Canada. Um, I found out about them through the people at Innovate Cochrane, and they said, yeah, we're looking to expand from Vancouver into Alberta, and they'd already worked with some groups, and basically they're like a kind of like a junior achievement sort of system, but they bring in mentors, and actually Lori from Intonovis, who is with the Flourishing Canvas, was one of our mentors, and served us very well, and especially helped our female students to have a role model, which I think is really important, and just taught us about pitching, and also the Flourishing Canvas workshop. As I was learning about the creating the pitch, I always wanted to include sustainable development goals. So that's why you see those goals there, as part of the, after you've learned the Minecraft work where you build the village and the starship, and you now are like, okay, you put me in a random team. Now I want to choose my team. But I now have a bit of pitch experience because I always make them do a presentation. And it's always very scaffolded, so that it includes people who may be neurodiverse. They may have some anxiety issues about that. I know I certainly do when I'm pitching. So that's how those SDGs started to work into each pitch. Um, and here's an example of, I'm kind of skipping around here, but that's okay, of what the starship looks like and what the sustainable village underneath looks like. And this has evolved. So this group, I'm pretty sure, chose the bat, which I believe is like um, energy, some sort of energy systems, and uh, and they created a village here that was based on nuclear fission. That's it. Yes. So that's the funny thing about when we do these villages. Like I ran a sustainability lab for years, and I always had the orange team as kind of like the sci-fi team, and they typically chose nuclear fusion, and and they built their own sort of sci-fi fusion generators. And what's exciting is when those things actually start to become true. And it's like to the point now where I think I heard in Germany that they've sustained a fusion reaction for over 30 minutes. And anyways, those sort of things really excite me when we start to look at science and nature and bring them into our imaginary worlds, and then they start to emerge. Um, yeah, so this is like a vertical farm that they did. There's some interesting things I noticed in Alberta. Like I've always got an eye out for when things are happening in the world, and so like there's like tidal generators in Scotland, or I think they have some in Japan now as well, and they have some of these vertical farms in Alberta, and yeah, we also you probably noticed this sort of cherry tree again. It fits inside a structure block in Minecraft Education Edition. It's There's limits to that too, by the way. It's 64 by 64, but you can go as tall as you want in that edition. So that's kind of why everything looks a little bit vertical, rectangular. Um, but being an AV person, I have them make media studios as well. So this is actually the B that they chose, and the B is sustainable cities, I believe. Um, and so inside this big cherry tree in Minecraft. Um, they have all these flowers and bees flying around, and they also designed their own logo, which you can actually put custom onto a painting. You can't really see it from there. And inside the game, you can make a green screen. And I was teaching them how to like do a newscast where you have like a live newscast going. And anyways, sustainability news. Um, yeah, so this painting would typically be replaced by the logos that they design for their media studios. All of this to say that the sustainable development goals and the lean canvas are are what we're working towards with understanding the flourishing canvas. And I know we talked a little bit, Anthony, you and I, about this idea of creative destruction, or value co-destructions. And one of the Nobel Prize winners in economics, that team there, I think his name is Howitt, has this model of creative destruction, where, and it fits very nicely for Minecraft because you're constantly iterating, you're constantly destroying blocks and replacing them with new ones, and as you adjust and build and rebuild. Um, but we're seeing this play out in economics, where the block that originally disrupted the block is now kind of the old guard, and they're wanting to maintain their power and not be destroyed. But it's just a natural process of creation and destruction. And maybe we can talk a bit more about that afterwards. Um, so I don't know why there's little red lines there, but that's okay. So one of our first uh, explorations was with junior achievement. They gave us a shot at the tech world of change at SAIT, and that's where I kind of saw that the work that we were doing, we built this sustainability maze where it generated a random maze every time, but as you would gain levels, you would purchase things that they were probably fair trade things, because that's where I was at that time, working with fair trade. And then you got to the top and you found this tree, and there was like little mini puzzles as well inside, to get through each room, little mazes. And junior achievement, we did this for some grade 9 students, and they loved it. And that's where I kind of realized, the work we were doing, we could take this anywhere, and it could be, because if it can survive a grade 9 class that you've never met before, it's gonna be fairly decent. So they gave us that. Um, and I guess coming full circle, very recently, I'm a big fan of Finland and its education system. For the way it really understands teachers and what they need, and the trust that when it's extended to them, the how this system will be rewarded by that trust. But they have this enterprise village, Yrityskala. I don't know if I said that right, but I've got a little bit of Finnish. Um, but again, kind of bringing it full circle to that original slide of my ancestor, who they came from Finland, And anyways, he was an entrepreneur. My grandfather, his brother, my grandfather, which I didn't have a picture of, he was an entrepreneur in Northern Ontario, and he built a lot of buildings with his crew. And um, anyways, kind of moving like the flourishing canvas, youth creating their own worlds and their own pitches, and having sustainable development goals at the kind of the bedrock of that. Finland has this beautiful system of the enterprise village where you can go into this simulation. I see it like a Minecraft village, but in real life, and it's like a miniature. And you go and you like pay your taxes, you open bank accounts, you develop businesses. It's just amazing. And I saw that through the recent opening in Bahrain of a youth system like this, a youth enterprise village. And it may be associated with junior achievement. I can't quite remember. Um, so I have a variety of projects that I'm looking as I continue this Earth versus Venus idea. I'd mentioned the Wither and the Venus Dragon, and this brings me back to one of the key elements, especially considering today and that opening sort of intention of making a way to solve problems without war. And one of them was, well, if you can friend a big boss, like something that is like looks like an enemy, if you understand their backstory and you go deep enough, you figure out the reason why they're misbehaving. And it comes back to like doing improv, where there's this game called Typewriter where you almost like create a little fairy tale as you're improvising. And there's kind of like two really, I'd say, archetypal endings to that. And one is that, yeah, you defeat the dragon, you slay the dragon, and the village is safe. And the other is kind of like the idea of the lion that has the thorn in its paws, that, oh, the reason why the lion was behaving so badly is because it was in pain. And so if that little mouse can recognize that and remove that thorn, then they become friends. And so there's a whole system of teaching through like Dungeons and Dragons and RPG that I did with some buddies a few years back. And one of the things that we did to make sure that parents would feel comfortable, and that I would feel comfortable, is that we really incentivized the befriending process, so that it wasn't just going out and slaying and becoming so powerful that that's what you do, but that you embedded these little lore backstory moments that were discovered. And if you could unlock that, you would like triple your XP and level up even faster. So that was something that I learned. The other thing I want to explore is something called the Eco 2 Olympics. Eco 2, kind of a play on words with carbon dioxide, but also ecology and economy, the two ecos, and how to balance those things out. For a long time, I've wanted to create, like, I call it like the sus Olympics, like people, like groups of students or players design their own uh, Minecraft mini games, which I've done a lot of, and students are amazing at this. And then they compete, and they compete as teams in these games. And the idea here is, I think, comes back to Buckminster Fuller and a bit of the world game, but more the idea of that if we can kind of transcend our national identities and have some different identities, like I think of like Pokemon Go and the different kind of Team Valor or Team there's two other teams, I can't remember them right now, but like red, yellow, and blue. Um, we Yes, of course, we have our national identities, and we'll never get rid of those, but we can also aspire to a greater identity that can be our team that we can compete against. And that's where the Olympics. I love the Olympics. I love the spirit of competition, um, especially when it's to a higher goal. So we can channel that competitive energy in a way that can really be interesting and fun, and maybe solve some problems. Or the end den is basically, I started experimenting in Minecraft. Is that, yes, they would develop their business canvas, first lean or flourishing or a combination thereof, and they would make a brick and mortar version in Minecraft. It's great because you can use bricks to make a brick and mortar version. And you also have an online version, like a website that's linked to it. You can, through NPCs, you can create a hyperlink inside the game itself that takes you to that website. Um, but also to have a bit of a competition. Like in Canada, we have the Dragon's Den, but in Minecraft, there's more than one dimension. You can go into a place called the Nether, and you can go to a place called the End, where you fight the Ender Dragon. And I kind of retooled it so that on the pillars that surround the Ender Dragon, we have the people who are the funders, which are these youth. Um, but you can actually load up your own structure block that has your bricks and mortar version. You can pitch it. You can pitch it with the hyperlink to your presentation, and then you can just erase it, and then another person can come in and do theirs. So that's something I'm working on. I'm also working on this whole idea of a neuro inclusive pitch environment. That's one thing, for example, that is a common rubric in pitching is eye contact, and that can be very challenging for people who are neurodiverse, and to affirm at the beginning some of these modifications, or just how do you want to be evaluated? What is the rubric that you can kind of toggle in and out of, and to just have some real inclusive universal design for learning. So that's kind of things that I'm working on. Another thing here is art with Raspo. My bro is he's an artist and he's an art teacher. And if you click on that link, you can see his YouTube channel where he really likes to work with young kids in drawing, and especially wildlife. And so he's a master at this. But an idea I had was like, let's have a wildlife uh, artist of the year competition, and you can be represented on different parts of this map in Minecraft. And again, not in your own biome, because you're wanting to build that awareness, that planetary awareness. And lastly, this is probably my favorite, is like a kaiju artist of the month, because my son loves his Godzilla, uh, you know, and the whole kaiju universe. We could actually build a big Godzilla that could be seen once you zoom in on this Minecraft Earth server from space, and to just, that could be your big boss. And it's like, what is the backstory? How do we unlock the befriending mechanic for those different kaiju? So here's how you can get a hold of me. If you want a conversation on Calendly, you can scan that code. I think in the PDF that's sent out to you, these are also active hyperlinks as well. If you want to understand some of the theory that connects, I've done some work with the University of Calgary, specifically Dr. Bomi Kim, and helping her PhD students, understand about how creating sustainable villages really helps STEM education, or STEAM education, if we're adding the A for arts in there. And the Make a Minecraft course on Outschool. Okay, I like definitely want to promote that. That's our self-paced course. I don't have a lot of active courses right now that I'm teaching, just because I'm currently on a leave, and I'm working through some supports for my family. But please check that out. You can make your own movie. We have a youth who's a YouTuber that has put together a really great way to create cinema inside Minecraft. And lastly, this server that you've been watching this entire time, the renewal.earth, is right there. And it's probably needing to be restarted because my server will go on sleep. So there we go. Thank you for your attention. I might restart that server.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Laurie had one question. Is there a way to experience the Minecraft world? And I think that's the link you just shared, right? The renewal.earth.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So can you see my screen while I'm
Yes,
doing
yes, yes.
this? Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to go to a link and open that up. But I mean, the way to kind of experience that is to like take the sustainability lab course. That's where you can kind of see it. Yeah. So it's going to take me a minute here to kind of log into that. So yeah.
Questions from Zane's just put some links into the chat for us. Thank you, Zane. And Ondine saying that she's going to reach out to you. Um, any other questions from anybody? I know I have a curiosity that I'd like to ask, but I'll let
Yeah.
other people go first.
Should I stop screen sharing?
Yes, that would be fine.
Okay.
Any questions? So I guess maybe you could just spend a moment talking a little bit more about how the kids interact with the canvas in the Minecraft environment, and what sort of we've had Ondine and a colleague of Ondine's at a high school in Montreal talk a little bit about their experience using the canvas in a high school context. So just curious about what reactions the students have had, and yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Lori definitely came in and gave a workshop uh, on the canvas, and it was interactive with sticky notes, and it was physical. And so I have I've tried to bring it into, like, make a big painting on a wall and use it there. Um, I didn't I didn't have as much success with that as I did with really understanding, I would say, the sustainable development goals that go with their initial Minecraft builds, and then tying it back to the canvas after we've kind of seen the lean canvas without the flourishing. Um, so I would say it's through that comparison um, that people become aware of those original sort of sustainable development goal teachings that they'd already kind of experienced. Um, and then when they do their final pitches, uh, because they have that comparison in mind, I find that many of them have uh, have kind of automatically turned to very uh, sustainable sort of practices inside their pitches. And specifically, like, one that jumps out at me in the last sort of enterprise class that I taught was, um, they'd they'd wanted to create a place where you could go in and see where the animals were living. And I think it was either a pet store. I think it was a pet store. Um, but but it was also like bringing you through their biomes and other things, but also the bricks and mortar sort of place that they lived, as well as the online version. It was all informed by the flourishing canvas. But I definitely feel like there's a lot of work to be done there as I become familiar myself with the flourishing canvas in how it applies to my own to Infinite Mind Pictures.
So Laurie asked, what are some of the revelations that came to you during the use of the Flourishing Business Canvas, yourself and for the students? And then Maria is asking, how is the grading evaluating process of the students' journey with the Minecraft experience? So we'll take those as the last two questions, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, I would say some of the revelations, I mean, I had specifically working with Lori, was a real understanding of who who the client was, and who were they on a human level, and how they just really imagining that, how that value was connected to that person and what they needed. I don't know. I think it's just a process of empathy. I think you just have more empathy and deeper understanding of like the human and the world that they're inhabiting and the story that they're living. And thanks, Rob. And for the uh, yeah, I'm trying to think of a revelation I had for, when my students were pitching at, like, Platform Calgary and the Flourishing Canvas. Yeah, I feel like there's real potential there for the gamification. I would say even more the game-based learning, because those are kind of two different things. But it started that sort of awareness of how gamifying and things could really work with the canvas and the pitching and everything around it. It's I feel like there's a space there that can be really explored and that students will really respond to. I don't know what that totally looks like yet or how to structure that, but it's just kind of an intuition. Um, and I guess there was also a question about the grading and evaluating process of the students' journey with the Minecraft experience. Okay, that's really good because um, it comes down to kind of teamwork, I would say, because the students with the initial Minecraft experience, they're put into random teams, and they have to give a presentation, and I kind of return it to the improv game called Conducted Die, and it's where you like point at a student and they start talking, and then you the indicate another student, they have to pick up where that other student left off and continue on, and that whole idea of everyone has to know everything about this presentation because I might at some point pull out this improv game, and that's part of their evaluation, and that's part of their growth too, as they get to their final pitch and they kind of break through those moments of anxiety or uh, of having practice, and then they choose their own rubric. And actually, I use Laurie's rubric. I use Innovate Cochrane's rubric. I've used a bunch of different rubrics, and I have them choose now. And I think I want to extend that even further, especially with neurodiverse students, as they can kind of choose their evaluation system. Um, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, th thank you so much, Stefan, for all the work that you've been doing. Absolutely fascinating. And I have a sense that you're really just at the beginning of that journey in many respects. So look forward maybe to a return visit in a little while's time with an update on the things that you've learned and the things that you're doing with the students. Really, really interesting. So thank you very much. Really appreciate you taking the time today. So just to wrap up very quickly, a couple of invitations to everybody. The first is we'd love some feedback on today's event. There's a very short survey that we have, and Zane will be putting these links into the chat as we go through. Love you to come and explore and share our website at flourishingbusiness.org. You can download the latest Flourishing Business Canvas and interactive guide for free. And we also invite you to come and watch our videos. There's introductory videos about the canvas and about flourishing business in general. And then there's videos about each box on the canvas as well that Ondine and I recorded with Climate Kick. Second invitation is to join the community and opportunity to meet up with people doing all kinds of amazing things with the canvas and learn from each other and ask questions and get answers, hopefully. I already mentioned the training course, but I just want to mention it again that next cohort starts in January, and you can learn more at flourishingbusiness.org/training. And if you wanted to learn more about the Flourishing Startup Method, there's a 90-minute overview that Ondine does with her organization, Flourishing Startups, and you can sign up at that link there. Again, Zane will put that in the chat. We also have a fully micro-certified course on the Flourishing Startup Method, and the next cohort will also be beginning in early 2026. And just recently, we had managed to get an article published about this. So if you want to learn more about some of the history of the evolution from lean startup to flourishing startups, that's a good article to take a look at. Mentioned we are in the process of fundraising for the collab to be able to extend and expand our work around the world. So if there's anything you can do to help us with that learning journey, advice, guidance, or connections, there's a funding brochure that we have that will introduce the collab in more detail. And love you to reach out to myself or the leader of the board, Bernd Herbert. And last but not least, announcing our December event, Dr. Bob Willard from Sustainability Advantage is going to be talking about measurement of true sustainability using the Future Fit Business Benchmark and the basic sustainability assessment tool. And these are science-based tools that can be used to assess whether or not your business model design is truly going to enable flourishing over time. yeah, Bob's a leader in this world for many, many years in the business case for sustainability. So I know that talk's going to be really interesting. Again, this talk, more a general talk about areas of the canvas rather than the use of the canvas directly. So again, if you want to go deeper into measurement and performance, that this is going to be a great talk from Bob. And again, the registration link for that is already open, and Zay's put that into the chat as well. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your days wherever you are in the world, and thank you.